Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fallible Fandom, episode 3. Apologies for the technical difficulties earlier. But yeah, wouldn't be a streamer with me if there wasn't some of that involved. So let's get started. Say hi to Liam. How you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Could feel a bit better, but
Good.
always happy to be here. How you doing, Flash Freak?
I am good. I am ready to go. I am definitely
Good.
more energized than I was last stream.
Yes, yes. Mr. Old Vapey, loving life.
But I don't condone those activities. This stream is sponsored by Guinness, by the way.
Okay.
So
Hopefully they send you some
Flash
merchandise.
Freak can take the flag for that one if there's any issues there.
Yeah. Hello, baby. Nice having you here as always.
How did you Taylor?
So yeah, lots to talk about this week. Hi, Thunderbolt. Welcome home. Let's get to it. So, what do we want to discuss first? Do we want to do Invincible or X-Men first?
well, I have not seen X-Men, but I've seen Invincible. So
You've not seen X-Men?
no, because I never watched the original. So
Okay, but
well,
don't you
I
think
did see
it'll be
someone
good?
on Twitter that has watched it without seeing the original, and he still said he liked it. So
Well, this is what I was gonna say. It's like, so basically, with Liam and I growing up with it and having it like be like a contributing factor to like a bar that we would have going forward with entertainment and stuff like that, and it had a real impact, you know. So like having a fresh take on the new season, while ours would be very interesting to see. So I think you should watch it for that reason.
all right, I do like X-Men.
You what, sorry?
I do like X-Men. So
Hmm.
I actually grew up with Wolverine and the X-Men.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Lance's post. Yeah, so like I enjoyed that show, but it obviously was nowhere as good. Like the animation was better for sure, but I feel like
Yeah, the
the
animation was
stories
really
weren't
good.
there as much. Okay then, so let's roll the dice. Let's do X-Men because I feel like that can be got through a lot easier because I have a question about Invincible that I feel like we could be discussing for a while.
Mhm.
So I think we should get cracking with X-Men first. Hang on, let me just quickly pull it up. This little picture to show everybody what we're talking about. Wait, that's the original. Excuse me. Wow.
Don't have to apologise for that,
I stopped
dude.
staring at that one. Hang on. It's X-Men 97 we're discussing. I'm too busy showing off the original. That's what everybody should go and watch for like context on the show. But this is what we are discussing this week. Once it wants to pull itself up. A nice black screen. And an advert that I didn't want on. Here we go. X-Men 97.
There we go. Still continuing with the technical issues.
Okay, so I just have to say off the bat. Yeah, right. Yeah. Once I get like a better computer system set up, then it'll be streamlined. It'll be great. I'm flashing. Have you muted yourself?
Yeah, because my dog was barking.
Oh, bless him. Well, that's okay. We're not animal haters here, so if he has something to say about X-Men, let him come on. So X-Men. Okay, so we pick up right where we left off. So before we even begin to discuss the episode, I would like to say that again, Liam and I grew up with this show. It is amazing to see a revival and done in such an amazing way. that's gripping right off the bat, and they're going for strong, hard storylines, and it's not just a nostalgia cash grab. Like, it's actual effort put in. There's a whole bunch of everybody returning, new people added in, but in a way that is true to the show. Like, there's a lot of care and attention going into this, and I'm here for it every week, and I can't wait to see more. So we pick up the episode right where we left off, and that was with a copy of Jean turning up, right? And then everybody being shocked about that. And then we had Beast running his science, and we learned that the gene that we've been having all along since 97 started, and we don't know how long for in the original one, is a clone.
Well, was it season 1 that they come across Mr. Sinister?
Real early, yeah.
Yes, it was like season 1, episode 2 or something, weren't it? Quite early on. So she'd been a clone that whole time.
What
about from the original X-Men season, X-Men series?
No, I'm looking. Yeah, and I don't think so. Oh my god! Right, so getting into Mr. Sinister, like, there is so much about the character that I didn't know. Right, so obviously, like, it shows later on that he's from the 1800s, and the original season series did an episode on his origin story, right, which I need to go back and watch again. But yeah, born in the 1800s, like, Apocalypse had his sights on him, messed around with him, and then basically, like, there's 4 versions of Nathaniel Essex that have been, 3 versions of Nathaniel Essex that have been made, and 1 of his wife, right? So there's 3 clones and an original Nathaniel Essex running around before he died. So then 3 versions of him that all look real different, right? They don't just look like Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister has the diamond in his head. One of them has the clubs. One of them has the spades. And then his wife has the heart. And in the comics, like, they are just crazy. Like, the stories that go on with it. Like, one guy, like, so basically, like, they took the story of the Celestials and the Eternals and things like that, and then boiled it down to something that they call Farm World, right?
Yeah.
And basically, one of them went all the way over there and just started, like, became the boss, like, real quick. And then basically, it all has to do with the techno-organic virus, or like, it's the it was the clones were created to explore the solutions of the problem of the inevitable machine supremacy, right? Which is one of the reasons that Mr. Sinister would have likely have been trying to employ the techno-organic virus.
Yeah.
So lots of exciting stuff to see, but I don't think they'll be bringing them in any way. It's just really, really cool to see. So we see that Beast says it's Mr. Sinister, and then the gene that's the clone gets upset and starts messing with everybody because he has a level of control to exert over her. And she starts messing with everybody in really weird ways. You have Gambit's insecurity in his relationship with Rogue.
I don't think Sinister would have got into her head and made her act that weird, though, if she wasn't so worried about Nathan. She weren't stressing over the baby as much as what's going to happen with him.
You think?
Yeah, I don't.
You gotta think, like, he fully made her. Like, every cell in her being has his signature on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that, like, if we come back to her, I think that might be something that she might be dealing with, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But you might be right, because as we see later on, like, the real Jean Grey, who she's an exact replica of, is insanely powerful. Like, insanely powerful. So maybe, I don't know. We'll have to let the writers make up their mind on that one and let us know. So then Madeline starts messing with everybody, and then her powers, like, because her powers were the same as Jean's, you know what I mean? Like blue and whatever, and like she was using them the right way, then it was all fine. But then the second Mr. Sinister gets involved, it all goes purple and green, like all fiery. And then she later declares herself the Goblin Queen, which is an interesting name, but I'm not sure where that comes from. Want to look into that.
Mm-hmm. Title of a porno.
Yeah. But I love how articulate Magneto is. And he's like, it's time for Mr. Sinister to pay for his malevolent appropriations. So, oh, dude, that's awesome. That's a badass way of saying, let's go get this guy. Yeah. Love it. But yeah, okay, so a question. Like, who do you feel is more powerful, Bishop or Cyclops?
Who's Bishop?
Bishop's the time traveler that, like, he absorbs the energy and then like shoots it out.
I was about to say it depends on where Cyclops hits him with his being but
yeah, I don't know who Bishop is, so
right. No, but this is my point, right? So
Bishop is a time traveler that basically come back in time to stop the future that was happening, and he is basically a traitor to the mutants, working for the Sentinels, hunting down the mutants. And then he realized when the Sentinels had finished with him, they basically turned on him and tried to kill him as well because he was a mutant. And then he joined the X-Men. There you go. That's Bishop.
Well, can't Cyclops only use his powers when he has that?
No, that stops him using them all the time, because basically he got hit in the head. Well, he got hit in the head, and then basically his power's always on, right? So then he has to have the visor on so he can press a button and then they get ejected out like pew, 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 pew.
Oh, okay, that's why in the live action X-Men movies he had those sunglasses on.
Yeah. And then in Bishop, I would say as well, like, it was to do with like apocalypse. There was an apocalypse war that was gonna like just wipe out all of mutants, and as Liam says, apparently he was on the wrong side. Some crazy shit. So the thing is this is what the reason I'm asking, right, is because as we know, like Cyclops ain't like Omega level, right? He's just a powerful guy. But he is stupidly powerful. Like, if he takes off those things and then like it just out, he's super powerful.
Guy can make a landing as well, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. So let's be real. Like, he could have taken care of. I just had it backy or some shit. It's horrible. So when Madeline Pryor's got the hell situation on, right, and then Beast is in there talking about beware the Jabberwock and Dante's Inferno and shit, right? Like, Cyclops could have taken out those beasts, right? The flying things. The fact that he, like, Bishop was like, hey, shoot me and I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
I was there, like, well, Cyclops could have done it. Like, do you think, like, Bishop's, like, so, because Bishop is a battery.
Yeah.
You know? And then Cyclops would be so as well in, like, a different way, I would say. But who do you think, like, would be more powerful?
I don't know. Person that charges the battery or the battery itself.
Exactly. I don't know.
But you know, if they were to fight though, if they were to have a fight, Bishop will just absorb Cyclops' power and then just fire it back at him. And I don't think Cyclops is going to be able to absorb it like Bishop is.
The question is as well is, do you remember Ang Lee's Hulk in 2000s?
Yes, I do remember that.
Right, when he's like, take it all, and then he's in the water and he's like, no, it's too much, man.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that would happen? You know, like we get Bishop blowing up like a balloon because there'd be too much of Cyclops' Just
No,
kinetic
because I'm
energy
sure
coming
he'll
up.
probably be able to release it, wouldn't he? Like, there's only so much you're going to take before he explodes or releases it. So, and I'm sure he'll be able to release the energy as it's coming in.
You'd hope so. You'd hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to see his limit though. Okay, so again, the Goblin Queen. That's something I want to look into. Sinister's techno-organic virus is really interesting. I haven't seen a version of Cable where like the virus is fully taken over. And it's interesting because like he says he's doing it to make him invulnerable, right, and invincible. And his whole issue is the machines are going to rise up and take over. But then how is your solution to that? Turning yourself into a machine? Or turning somebody super powerful into a machine? I don't understand.
Because then he can make a clone of him. You know, he'll have the ultimate being there to clone. Because
no, I
he's
know,
already
but it would still be a machine.
Because he's a human that's implanted with like technology, basically.
No, but in my head, right, it's like somebody trying to upload their consciousness to Ultron. You know, like you'd have a body there that would have a human consciousness in it, but then as it would be fully cybernetic, then it would be
but it's a
susceptible.
virus, isn't it? So
yeah, that changes his body.
Yeah, it's an organic technological virus or whatever. So
which would turn him into a cyborg.
Yeah, but
like
because
Android.
it attacked. Yeah, so he obviously Mr. Sinister was experimenting on him to try and protect him from that in the future or whatever, so he wouldn't become sick. But yeah, I can imagine it wipe out humans.
So he said, "I'm putting him in the tank, right?
To make him,
I'm gonna invincible, right? And the end result of that would have been him a full machine, right?
Not a full machine.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, like, because the whole point of Cable's virus is that it's eating his body up. Like by the end of it, he will be a full machine dude. So the question now is that the result of them pulling him out, or was that always the end game for that?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Hopefully they give us answers.
Yeah, because in my head, right, fucking like going, oh no, it's a real problem. These machines are taking over. I tell you what I'm going to do is create myself a robot body so I can walk around amongst them and then just
and still be a mutant.
Yeah, not the best plan in the world. But the guys from, like 1800, so they won't come up with like the most spectacular ideas.
Oh yeah.
So then we get Madeline versus Magneto, right? And wow, both earth-shattering powers, like potentially, like Magneto could control the whole planet physically if he wanted to, and then you've got Jean, who actively has to temper her power and keep it from just going crazy, and that's like even without the Phoenix Force and stuff. So it was really, really, really cool to see. I gotta say though, like I fully like it. I understand that the Magneto's helmet is a representation of all the things like he stood for before, right?
Yeah.
And that he still believes, but he's now putting that aside to push forward Charles's dream. I get that, but
yeah,
the man's going to fight a super psychic. How the hell do you not put that helmet on before the fight?
Because that helmet never blocked psychic powers. It wasn't until the X-Men movie where it did that.
What?
The helmet never used to block psychic powers. It wasn't until the X-Men movie that became a thing.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Check it if you want.
I'll have a quick look. Yeah, see? I'll learn that I'm wrong if I am. I don't mind. Third on the list, Magneto's helmet. I would like to buy it, but not now. Magneto had assigned this special form of headgear protecting him from all telepathy and psionic energy. He realized he would need protection from beings like his old friend Charles Xavier. The helmet, origin 616. Yeah, no, it's not saying so. Oh wait, hang on. Wait. The idea of his helmet protecting him from telepathic intrusion explanation was given in the film series and Ultimate series. Huh. Wow. Okay, so interesting to see. So we actually get a prime example of what this podcast is about. So hang on a minute, let me sort this fucking camera out because it keeps wanting to go fucking blurry on me, even though it's a HD camera. Excuse me.
You might need to hire me for your IT.
So it says the idea of his helmet protecting him from telepathic intrusion was the explanation given in the film series and the Ultimate Universe. Interesting. Okay. Fair play.
Very cool.
Good to know. Okay. So that's another reason why he would have left that damn helmet behind. Okay. Cool. But yeah, hilarious fight. Really cool. I say hilarious. Like, it was just awesome. It was so good. Seeing Morph turning into it's not Rasputia. What's her name? Cyclops' sister.
Don't know.
Anya Taylor-Joy played her in New Mutants.
Don't think I've seen that yet.
You have, yeah. I just haven't seen it yet. Jesus Christ! I just said his name as well. Who did I say? Colossus.
It said Cyclops.
I meant Colossus. Ileana Rasputin. I'm pretty sure that's who Morph turned into with the sword in the episode. Lots of fun. The animation is really good, really intense. They're able to do the fighting really well. There was a cool bit where Madeline threw some metal back at Magneto, and then like it just dodged in front of his face, and then in the show, like it blocked his vision. So then when he moved it, she wasn't there anymore. And then she was about to jump on him and get him. That was really, really cool. So then we see Logan fussing over the original Jean. And then she's reading his mind, and then he's picking like a super inappropriate time. Like, he's like, just focus on one voice, focus on mine and all of this. And then she's like, I meant all of that much to you? And he's like, so much more and all of this. It's like, oh, yeah.
Like, and then she's like, oh my God, Scott's in danger.
Yeah, I know, instantly, right? Like, so that just like fully sets up the love triangle that's going to be going on, because like, yeah, she's always going to have a thing for Scott, but Logan's always there waiting in the wings.
Scott's married with a kid.
Huh?
Scott's technically married with a kid.
Yeah, to her clone, which sets up so many ethical questions. Yeah, it's a real head scratcher, that one. Because as much as like, yes, that woman is literally every cell is the same as that woman. Like,
Yeah.
no, innit? Like, that's still not your wife.
Nope.
They're still different people, innit? So, like, you got some making up to do for falling for that, you know? Like, you got some real bending over backwards, because they're very much not the same people as much as they are, and they're not, you know? So, yeah. he's got to be buying some flowers or some chocolates or something. Which I think, like, the fact that he's done that, and then she's going to be like, well, how much do you really know me? Which will give room for Logan, which, you know, will be interesting.
Yep.
And then Jean just shows how amazing and how powerful she is. I mean, Jesus Christ. Beast is like, oh, you can't go and help everybody when Scott's in danger. And she's like, Beast, my body's not the issue. She puts her hair up and then just starts psychicking everywhere, and then just relinquishes Madeline's control on the situation. Just basically comes in like a psychic Jesus, and then just starts putting everything right again, and then has a conversation through shared grief and trauma with Madeline, and then showing that doesn't define who they are. Power doesn't define who they are. The core of who she is, with being a mother at the moment, is one of the things that does define her. Yeah, it is raining. 2 seconds, I need to shut the window. Oh. So that's what she's going to go off and do. She's going to go off and be a mother. And then, okay. I know the way she's not going to go off and be a mother. She's fucking Nathan's in the future, right? But before we get to that,
she's gone off to live her life.
Yeah, she's gone off to live her life, right? Can we just talk about this quickly, right? Because Cyclops is there and he's like, I won't do this. My father abandoned me. Do anyone you know what it's like to be abandoned? No, right? And then they're like, dude, Madeline says to him, he won't feel abandoned. So she's going to do something up here to make sure he doesn't feel abandoned, right? Fine. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I don't agree with this. I won't abandon him. I'm walking away from this situation.
Yeah.
So you won't abandon him, but you're just going to abandon everything. You're going to just abandon the whole situation. You fucking dick. What are you saying?
It's like a scene out of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't abandon him. Now watch me abandon him right now. See y'all later. It's disgusting what you're doing. I'm just going to abandon it all. Goodbye. Yeah? It's like, how are you saying that with a serious face? Fuck's sake. Yeah, we saw Xavier's first meeting with Jean. That was really cool. And then we see them connect, which was really, really nice. Because, like, as difficult as the situation was, like, made by Mr. Sinister's interventions and things, they really did show the best of themselves together, I think. Because it could have, like, what they could have done is, like, just saw the toxicity in each other and, like, oh no, I'm the right one, you're just a disgrace and this, but, like, it didn't take much to settle the situation and say, hey, look, we both got a life to live. We don't know what the situation is. Let's just go and be the best as we can be, you know? And I think that's great. That just shows, like, how big of people they are, you know?
Yeah.
So then we get Bishop taking Nathan into the future after Madeline does a little psychic, you know, and it makes him feel okay again. So then I have a question about Bishop, right? So, like, how long is he going to be gone? Like, is that a story that's going to be... Are we going to see that story? Is there going to be, like, a split in narratives that we started at the mansion? Are we now going to be on Muir Island or wherever Forge and Storm are in Texas or wherever it is they go. I don't know. And then Bishop and Cable, but then you also got like the Central stuff, which also has to be split up because you've got like Morph with his narrative, with Sinister, I think, because his title card's showing that's what that's all about.
But with Bishop going back, is he going to be safe? Because technically he's changed the future already.
Yep, and who knows what he's got there.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's gonna keep his title card, because something I learned on Eric's stream is that they said the title cards for each episode, like Rick and Morty, are gonna keep being updated. So it's like stuff that happens in the show or whatever might be put in.
Yeah.
So maybe Beast's title card's gonna go, and then we get Sunspot put in. Like the more he's in there, maybe.
I think next week's episode's going to be like heavily focused on Storm and Jubilee.
Okay. So yeah, that leads us into the last little bit to the second last bit to talk about, because Forge meets Storm, introduces himself. I have to say, I'm surprised that they haven't met yet, right? Because we got Forge in the original cartoons, didn't we?
I think so,
yeah. And then the fact that like those two just haven't met, the fact that he's introducing himself, I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's cool.
It's really cool.
I wonder if they purposely kept it that way. Like, you know, they had this story that they wanted to do, Waiting in the Wings.
Oh yeah, because it's continued on from the original series.
That's just what I'm saying. It's what I'm saying. So like, if in the original they had this story, like
100%,
they're like, right,
100%,
we want to do this.
Tell this story
later. I need to get a new webcam, honestly. It keeps getting all fuzzy, and then I keep having to switch which one it is. Okay, so do you think that Morph's face is a choice/response to the trauma he suffered at Mr. Sinister's hands?
What, when you've seen him?
Yeah, no, because as you saw in the episode, basically he showed you how he normally looks with the bags under his eyes and shit, right?
Yeah.
So that's Morph's face, right? So when it's all, you know, like Star Trek security officer, right? Do you think that's a personal choice, or do you think like it's a psychological reaction, you know, like a PTSD thing, you know? Like, do you think there's a reason for it?
Just to show how scared and terrified he was, maybe.
It's why he keeps on the new one.
Yeah.
Because the state of the face is interesting, right? Because he's a shapeshifter, and he chooses a face with no discernible characteristics or features.
Yeah.
Because of trauma.
Yeah, well, the black hair and the bags under his eyes.
Yeah, because that's what he should be looking like. Unless that was a facade, which I don't think it was. I think that's his original face, right? So the fact that he's choosing a faceless mask, or like trauma is keeping it that to make him feel better, is fascinating.
Yeah. They did say he was the character was non-binary, didn't they? But
yeah, because
so maybe that's why they go for that, like, kind of plain neutral look.
No, because the press release they put out, like the DJ Eric went over, kind of leads me to believe that they don't know what that means, and they just used it
Yeah.
but they might
Did they
do.
have,
They
they
just
did they have to
mean
word shapeshifter correctly?
yeah, because like it's a word that wasn't around in the 90s, like gender fluid and non-binary and stuff. So
Yeah.
it won't be a part of this. But then as well, like when Madeline Pryor took over Morph and was like, "Do my bidding," before he turned into Ileana, like he was Morph's face but female, like while fighting that. So it was really, really interesting.
That was weird, wasn't
it? Yeah, all really cool stuff. Absolutely loving the show so far. I'm not sure how many episodes we're getting. Maybe 10, I think.
I think it's 10. What I said.
Yeah, would make sense. Oh, 11, maybe. If I click on episodes, it says there's 11. No, but 10. So this 11th one is season 2. They're getting ahead of themselves. Yeah. So 10 episodes. We're only on episode 3, and I am hooked into it, and I ain't going anywhere. I've got two hopes, right? The first hope is I want Nightcrawler to become a part of the story, and the second hope is that with the sheer attention and love that this show is getting, I hope that it kicks up the interest that everybody has for the Spider-Man show being reignited, because that left off in such an amazing place that there definitely needs to be answers.
That is one I did watch, the Spider-Man 90 show. Not all of it, but
oh my god! Like if there was an intro that was just as iconic as the X-Men one, like maybe if not like a little bit more. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, like because their version of Venom, I absolutely love.
Oh yeah, that's what hooked me onto the show as a kid.
Yeah,
that's what I remember. I remember Harry Osborn turn.
Yeah, the Carnage. They had Iron Man in there, War Machine rocking around. It connected with the X-Men universe. Mm-hmm. Like both of these shows did like a lot of heavy lifting, right? Pardon me. And then in the Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, when I was rocking the symbiote suit from that show. So on one side it had like the red outline, and on the other side it had the blue, and then it would keep changing and switching around. It just looked so good. It was so cool. So yes, anything to discuss about the show before we move on to Invincible?
No.
I would like to start on Invincible, if you would not mind.
Oh no. Let's
so I slept on this show forever since it came out, and I got hooked on it. Season 1 started a little slow for me, but then I got hooked, and it is making me reconsider me not liking The Boys.
You don't like The Boys? What do you mean you don't like?
No, I couldn't get into it. But
how much did you watch it before you decided that?
Maybe 2 episodes, maybe 3.
I say the Boys does take a couple episodes to get into, but once it because like Invincible, it does has that initial shock factor, right? And then there's a life-altering moment for Starlight really early on that is horrendous to see and be a part of, right? So there's like real shock value. And then Huey, I'm not gonna lie, as much as I like the guy, he's always like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm out. Okay, I'm in. Let's do this. Oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm out. Let's go. And it's just a cycle that repeats itself. So it does take a little bit to fully immerse and invest yourself into The Boys, but once you're in, you're there. You're fully there.
Well, yeah. So, but Invincible, I loved it. I had no idea it was still going. I thought season 2 ended already, but apparently there's one episode left, right? So I cannot wait to see how it ends off season 2. I do have a lot of questions that need to be answered. Yeah. Hopefully the finale will do that.
Nope. I promise you now, right? I'm calling it next week, right? I think basically, okay. So as much as it's all one story being told, right? So say for example, the Flash, right? That's all one story being told, but there are separate arcs, separate stories, seasons, things like that you can chop it up into, right? So if you do the same with Invincible, right, you have season 1, and then I would say like season 2 and 3 are like that. Do you know what I mean? Like they're so tied together that they could be basically part 1 and 2, even though like the whole thing is really smushed together that it'd be harder to chop up like the Flash, I think, depending on how they do time jumps, right?
I am interested since it looks like Mark and Amber are basically ending it. I do wonder if Mark and Adam Eve are going to maybe have a connection just because they are both superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah, they've fully been teasing that, though, for the last few episodes, haven't they? See, my question is how...
I'm surprised early on that they didn't get in a relationship when she was first introduced, but
she was in a
I also wonder, are we going to get a full Omni-Man redemption arc?
Maybe. Like the other question is as well is how faithful do they want to be to the comics?
Well, that's actually what I was going to ask. I asked on Dan's Discord, but I guess they didn't see the message. Has Invincible so far been a 1-to-1 adaptation?
I don't know. We don't read the comics like that. Like, so the thing is like, so season 1 happened, right? And then all over YouTube, there was just people putting up story arcs and spoilers and all sorts of stuff from the comics. So some people would have watched some people would have watched all of them, some people would have watched none. So some people know nothing about what happens in the comics, and Darren's one of those people. Because
I did look it up, and I looked up an article, and I was like, "Oh, how much of Invincible?" And first, I looked up all the comics over, and they said yes. And then I looked at an article, and from what it seemed like, it is a 1-to-1 adaptation because they were trying to judge how many seasons of Invincible were left, assuming it gets renewed every season. So, because if it is a 1-to-1 adaptation, I'll probably read the comics because that's what I do with anime. I always read the manga ahead. But if it's not a 1-to-1, then I'm not gonna read it.
See, my issue is right. So there's some things I know from the comics, like far ahead. Some things that aren't far ahead, but there's a lot that I don't know. Like a lot that I don't know. But there's stuff that I do know. Some of it's kind of pivotal, you know. So there's something that happens, and again, spoilers now for everybody that doesn't want to hear. Click away, right? But in the comics, there is the woman that comes and accosts Mark and forces a conversation. Actually, assaults him in a
essay.
Yeah, she essays him, right?
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. So this is something that I have, which like, so basically, obviously, the way the show is going, Adam, Eve, and Mark are destined to be together, right? Because if you think about it, her way her powers work, I don't think she's gonna age like very well. I think she's like immortal, right? So, or as close to it as a human can get. You know, or just from like some super amniotic fluid. So she would be the person that's perfect for him, right? Especially growing up together from young teenagers to adults and so on and so forth.
Listen, I've wanted these two together since season 1, so
timing was just never there. Timing was just never there with these two. That was the issue.
I did grow to like Amber though a lot, and
Amber's great. Amber's great.
One question I also have is, so we know Thraxons, that's what the name is, right?
The purple people, the blue
Yes.
people. Yeah. All of us.
So, since they say he will age, Oliver will age faster, but still, because of the Viltrumite, a little bit slower, are we going to see him potentially team up with Invincible in season
God
3?
knows. Not in season 3.
Because if he ages faster, we don't know how much faster, right?
Yeah, but maybe. I mean, I think there's hold off on that.
Well, didn't
So
they say that they only live
He
1 year in
He may
comparison?
age, yeah, their race.
Purebloods, yeah.
He should have been technically dead by now if he was one of their races. A part of like if he aged like his race did.
Right, so hang on, I want to get back to something quickly. So the thing with Atom Eve and Mark, right, is timing. Right? And with season 1, the timing wasn't there because of Atom Eve being in a relationship with Rex. And then the second that's over, Mark's in a relationship with Amber. So then Eve's just doing what she does and whatever, right? So the question is, if that storyline from the comics does happen where Anissa essays Mark, right? One, I'll be surprised if they do that because obviously, but two, I do know that like I don't know like how much of a day-to-day effect it has on him, but I know it profoundly affects him, right? As it would. So like my question is will like that also be a roadblock in the start of their relationship to getting together?
Well, here's the thing: is you're never gonna make everyone happy because if they don't do what you just said, then you're gonna get the people that say, "Oh, they're not accurate to the comics" or whatever. But then if they do it, you're gonna get the opposite side who says, "Okay, why would you do that?"
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's very tough. Very
they're
tough.
really in a tough situation there. So I don't know what
I think it is important to shed a light on the fact that like SA does happen both ways.
Yes. So
Yeah. So there is that.
I guess they could change it a little bit where he just gets assaulted, like beat up, assaulted. Like maybe he just gets a good beating from him.
Yeah, he gets that all the time. That's not going to change. That's not going to do nothing, is it?
No, but like
And
to
that
the point
happened like
where
on their
like, he
first
almost
meeting.
dies.
Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so let's get to it. So I think, as we just said, the ending of season 2 is going to be very, very open, and at most, I think that we're going to be dealing with Angstrom Levy. But we'll get to that in a bit. So in the intro of Previously On, which always makes me think of Rick and Morty now. They ruined that for me. We see what's his name? General Valko, I think his name is. From the Viltrumite Empire. With the thing on his eye. So he's played by Clancy Brown, right? Which I have to say is a stellar choice, because if you're going to get a guy to act across J.K. Simmons, you need somebody that's also got General Craig. You know what I mean? You need somebody that's also got like a similar kind of voice with intense gravitas with it. So Clancy Brown, amazing choice. So happy he's in the franchise, and just the sheer number of names that are in this franchise, right? Stephen Yeun, Sandra Oh, J.K. Simmons, Zazie Beetz, Clancy Brown, Sterling K. Brown, Gray Griffin. The name's not familiar, but she's been in like so much stuff, I'm pretty sure. Callista Flockhart, Walter Goggins, Mark Hamill, Luke McFarlane, Julian Jacobs, Jason Mantzoukas. Do you know what I mean? And that's just like the top people. That's not even like everybody that's in it. There's a reason that this show is top quality, and it is all of the creatives, front and back, that take care of this show. and it's insane. I love it.
Well, so I just looked it up, and apparently, from what people are saying, the main plot in the comics is the same. However, events and stuff with characters is being shuffled around.
Interesting.
So, and some. So yeah. So I'm curious about if they will do what you think. But another thing that's interesting of piggybacking off what you just said about your creatives on. I thought we already talked about this, but this was off stream where we said that a kind of meta fourth wall break they had in the latest episode. I was
So
laughing
good.
out loud. It was so funny.
So funny. So on point.
Amazing.
Oh my god. That's literally what I was about to say. Yeah, we start off with Comic-Con and a hilarious joke where Mark wanted to... Oh, yeah. So it's a hilarious joke, right, where they're talking about, like, covering their mouth, doing the pan shots where it looks animated, but it isn't. Also, they could have, like, a great fight later on, which they also do have. Like, it was an incredibly meta episode. Because it also started off with like, oh, hey, when's the new season coming? Which we're always all asking for. And the answer is next year. So we can already save that question. It won't be coming in November or December. It'll be next year when it's on.
Well, see, I don't know about... See, here's the thing. Especially anime, it's a little bit different here, but Japan... they don't treat their animators with a lot of respect, especially with MAPPA. Like, they abuse their animators. They get stuff out on time, so that's why anime comes out so quick. So, like, we have to just, like, people say, oh, when's it coming out? It needs to come out now. I'm like, think about the people making it. Like,
yeah,
if Invincible does come back next year, that would be a shock for me, just because of the animation quality. Like, I
you
would
gotta think this started last year, so next year's fine.
They got green lighted for season 2 and 3 together, so they pretty much
okay.
Yeah,
they're halfway
right.
through production on season 2 already. Season
Okay.
3, sorry.
Yeah, like because
Well, then
they
in that
started
case,
last
it's
year,
fine, but...
and then they start this came out last year, so they would have finished it like a whole chunk before that. And then considering where
You
the
say
story
last
is, and
year?
like I said,
It's like a 2.5 year wait between season 1 and 2.
no, I know. I'm saying season 2 started last year.
Right, they started season 2 last year, right?
Right, and they would have finished making it before that, right? So considering how we're looking at seasons 2 and 3 and how tied they're gonna be, Liam's right. They would have started season 3 like fucking the next goddamn day, or like you got a 2-week break or whatever, and then come back to work. We got to get going. So next year, that makes sense for it coming out, in my opinion, anyway. I wouldn't put it for the year after. That's just too long. That's too crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's interesting as well, right? So, like when Mark in season 1 was having this idyllic fantasy of how superhero life would be, and he was talking to Mark Hamill about how he wanted his outfit to be his superhero outfit. He wanted it to be iconic, something people would recognize. And then there he is walking around Comic-Con cringing because there's a group of dudes and women running around with his outfit on. So be careful what you wish for, right?
That is kind of ironic.
Yeah. And then, oh my god, they had the most hilarious, adorable intro, right? So normally it's always like a I'm Invincible or something Invincible, and this time it was the fans in the outfit that set off the start joke, and it was really, really cute and really funny. I loved it. So then we get Rex just being absolutely sick at what he does. The animation in the show is incredible. It allows just the fighting. This is what I mean. Like the whole jokes they were doing earlier. to set up the fighting. Did it really, really well. So it also shows, like, one, how strong he was, but two, like, he really is on the path to change, I think, you know, and it shows, like, already how sincere he's taking that. And I'm sitting there thinking, hang on a minute, is Rex going from a character like absolutely hated to one of my favorites?
Yeah, I know. I hated him at first.
Yeah, just because of how he was treating all of those poor women that just deserve none of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you might call yourself a player, but you're just a big fucking dick, right? And that's all he was, you know? And then, yeah, fucking, he might be my favorite character soon. Not favorite, but, like, he might be up there. He might fully start climbing the ranks. What do you think? What do you think of Rex's fight with that tentacle monster and his acknowledgement of how difficult interspecies or interplanetary languages can be?
Yeah.
And then stop bullying him for it, and then decided to just like do a whole different thing. Do you know what I mean? It's what I mean. It's just real growth and shit, man. It's just come on.
That was funny.
Yeah, he's so sweet, honestly. And then the choice, because let's be real, Mark could have, when he turned up, could have just knocked that thing straight out, but he was like, no, I need to finish this, more for me than anybody else, just to show that I can still do it. And then he just pulled off some shit, you know, like, oh my god. And then we see his little cannon hand, which now is just gonna, my god, if he had lost his hand earlier, I think like, that fight with the Flaxons and everybody else, do you know what I mean? Like, depending on how much he can charge an object, like, that cannon's gonna be crazy powerful. Puts me in mind of Gero, or whatever his name is, in One Punch Man. He shoots his cannon, like, it just looks like half the city's gone, you know. It's just so big. It's crazy. I love it. Okay. So then we get Rex offering to cover for Mark so that he can go on an uninterrupted date with Amber. We all know how that goes. We'll get to it. So then we get Monster Robot, a robot monster girl made by Robot or Rudy for Monster Girl so that she wouldn't have to keep transforming. So I put here that his heart might have been in the right place, but he handled it terribly, so badly, and he keeps coming across like a little bit creepy with it.
He's really pushing for it to stop, isn't he?
Yeah. And again, it's not his call to make, you know?
No. She could technically be immortal if she wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, she could live a whole life and then get to a certain age and like, right, I'm going to live as this monster now. And then go start all again.
Well, okay, so this is the interesting thing about what he said in the episode, right? Is that if she stops transforming, she'll age normally.
Yeah.
So
that's what I mean.
So, like, she could literally just live to about 70, keep transforming, get down to 10, and then live a whole life again.
That's what I'm saying. It's technically immortal.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, she wouldn't have to live as a monster, though.
All right, like, yeah. Just transform.
Yeah. Like, if it was that way, like, and it wasn't a case of that she, like, if she didn't transform, she'd live normally. But then, why is that a curse? Because as we've just worked out in the logic, that's like one of the best superpowers ever. Sorry, I get to transform into like an 8-foot giant thing. Do you know what I mean? Against the Hulk out and stuff, and then
yeah, you know as great as it is, and that, like, you know, losing all your loved ones and that constantly over and over again.
Yeah. But yeah, so I forget where I was going with that.
how creepy it is of him.
But he is being super creepy with it, right? So, to be fair, the guy kind of like grew up in a test tube, so like allowances have to be made. You know, social skills might not be as developed as they should be. That being the case, he should know it's somebody's decision, like not his.
Yeah.
You know, like he can offer the assistance. He can say, "Hey, I got something that will help you and look after you if you want it." You know, say for example, if you had like Rogue, you know, it'd be like forcing the mutant cure on her. In my opinion, you know, like the choice is there for her to take it for sure, but there's nothing to say that she has to. You know, but this kind of question, I want to come back to because I have something that I want to talk about at the end, which I find absolutely fascinating as a question. So yeah, so Rudy handles it terribly, gets told about his ass. If he'll let it go or if he'll keep pushing the idea until like she just breaks stuff off, you know, because at the moment, like it's not about their relationship, it's not about them connecting or anything like that. He's just there to save her, you know, and that's not a relationship. So, and then we get Bulletproof just dropping bombs to Samson about the whole crew, you know, like Rudy's whole thing was lying to everybody to steal DNA of one co-worker so he can date another co-worker. And then like the whole immortal thing, like he was just out there just dropping bombs on everybody. It was so funny. And I think that's the most we've seen of his personality in the whole time that he's been there. Can you think of anything else like that he's done that like you're like, oh, that's Bulletproof showing who he is?
I can't.
Nope, me either. This is what I mean. This is what I was talking about Darren's podcast. Is like there's a lot of characters to worry about. Like a lot. You got Debbie going on a date, right? And her whole relationship and the situation at home with Mark and the babysitter. You got Adam Eve, Mark, Amber. You've got Rex's storyline. You've got the Mauler twins and whatever they're doing, wherever they are. The multiverse storyline with a whole doubles and triples and quadruples and infinite amount of the people we're talking about. Angshan Levy and whatever he's doing, the Viltrumites and all of the people they have, the Coalition of Planets, like the guy with the beard, Alan the Alien, right? Shrinking Ray is still in hospital. Kate may or may not be dead. Immortal's off taking a vacation. Cecil's constantly trying to keep the world running. Donald, Rick, and Will are going through something now with the repercussions of the Reanimen. You also have the man, whatever his name, D.A. Sinclair, whatever it was, who also created the Reanimen. He's still working down in the basement. Samson, right? Bulletproof. There's people I'm forgetting. Do you know what I mean? Like the Flaxons. They're taken care of, right? Then you've got the Sequids up in space, and the Martians, and however they're handling it. You know what I mean? There's so many.
Also got that Sequid that's on Earth as well.
The Sequid that's on Earth, exactly. Like Shapeshifter. Like there's so many pieces of story and threads of story to worry about in this show that sometimes it works against the show. And if I'm 100% honest, I would have not gone comic booky last episode and I wouldn't have saved everybody. I would have had at least some consequence, right? As much as they are the core team and we love them. I think that would have lightened the load a little bit. But also like just like driven some shit home. Do you know what I mean? Because even with Rex getting his head blown out, like even if you just killed Shrinking Ray off, you know what I mean, didn't even bother saving her to kill her off or save her or whatever. You know, if she's just gone. and then Kate comes back later. Even that would have been like something, maybe, you know. But then we didn't see much of her either, you know. It's a shame that the green ghost thing that she ate, like, there's not another one of those. So yeah, so it's just it's interesting how the season's gonna go with the last episode.
So do we
'Cause,
think we're gonna
yeah.
get a cliffhanger? And
Absolutely, they ain't tired. Like if I the like being generous, I will say they will tie up one, maybe
Yeah.
two things. Like that's it. Do you know what I mean? And like one of those might be Debbie's date. Like this show, like, just loves drawing you in and not tying off anything. Like Nolan's still alive. He's in prison. Do you know what I mean? That's another thing to be dealing with. Just what I'm talking about. Like,
That's
So
what
that's what I was saying earlier.
that's the
is
plot
are we
with
gonna
Alan.
get-
That's the plot with Alan. Alan's just been obviously faked being injured by what's her name and got
Vanessa,
taken on
yeah.
the ship as a prisoner. So
Yeah.
he's gonna him and Nolan are gonna chat, and he's gonna end up helping Nolan escape. I think.
Do you
That'd be really
see Omni-Man being able to come back to Earth and be a hero again if he really changes
No.
his ways?
No.
Because when that person on Viltrumite, when she came to talk to her leader or whatever and says she couldn't get Mike, he says,
poisoned.
"Oh, it looks like Mike is just like his father. Is defying us just like his father." So did Omni-Man?
Yeah, because he didn't take over the planet. He left, didn't he, in season
The
1?
abandoned
He
post.
did.
Yeah,
But-
and that was him defying them.
But
Like the fact that
do
he
we
went
think
off and
that
had a
maybe
baby with the
he's-
Thraxans is him defying the Viltrumites because it should have
Okay.
been under Viltrumite control by them. That's the whole thing. So, yeah, so there are a lot of threads. Some of them will be meeting together, but not all of them are going to be answered. Some of them for a long time. We'll get back to Alan in a little bit. So Immortal doesn't trust Invincible, especially during that fight, which nearly cost him the fight, which I thought was really interesting for him to admit, you know, like, because, like, he said he was going to be watching him, but then I thought, like, you know, he's old enough to realize that, like, he can see a difference in them, you know. Because this is the thing. No, I don't think Omni-Man can be redeemed, right? Because that man lived on the planet for 20 years, lying about his true intentions, and then just fully decimated, like, millions of people and cities, and you know what I mean, or at least thousands of people.
Do you know what cool parallel this has? Is that a lot of Kryptonians, like Tau was sent to Earth to actually do the same, to turn it into a new Krypton.
Yeah.
But so it would be understandable if people may be nervous that Superman would try to do the same, but he wasn't. He was actually there to protect Earth. So I do like that kind of parallel thing.
No, but the difference is Tau, like, done nothing super, right? So the difference is Superman came here, had a human identity, and was a superhero, right? Tau just came here, hid in his human identity until he could enact this terrorist plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what you're saying. There is like some like parallels, but like the difference between Tau and Omni-Man is the fact that like Omni-Man gained so much of the public trust, like Morgan Edge or whatever his name was, like always in the papers with lawsuits and shit. Do you know what I mean? Like he was never a good guy. But like Omni-Man's there, like saying, "I'm your biggest hero, yada yada yada. I'll protect you." And then all the while, he was there to take over the planet, which they found out through watching the fight. And yeah, like the kill number. So like Tau super redeemable. Like the fact that he wanted to go off and be a hero, like great. Just from the sheer numbers, do you know what I mean? of Omni-Man. As much as he might do heroic things, can he ever be called a hero again? I don't know.
Will he ever find a home on Earth again? If he helps defeat the incoming invasion, they might be forgiven and a place to live again.
If so, he'd have to do it like the Grinch. Do you know what I mean? Find a mountain somewhere where everybody could do like hushed whispers about what a bad person you are, because there's nobody on that planet that's going to be trusting him again. Not a one. Like, I don't care how many lives, like how many Viltrumites he might kill to save like Earth or whatever. Like, it wouldn't be to save Earth for Earth. It'd be for like an inner turmoil thing, or to be closer to Mark, or like a bridge for something. It would never be true altruism. It would always be like for a personal motive. Do you know what I mean? So personally, no, I don't think he could be designated a hero again.
So in the comics, Invincible suit is blue and black.
There are a few costume changes he has. He never just has like the one costume. He does change it.
Oh, so is that going to be his suit eventually then? Did I just spoil that for everybody?
You know, it's customary to mention spoiler alert before coming in with.
Well, I thought maybe that was just a change from the show to the comics to the show.
No, I'm fucking with you. It's fine.
Oh,
So then Donald sees who and what he is with the amount of lives that he's lived through.
Can I just say I love Donald's character?
Yeah, he's like Phil Coulson time, like on steroids or some shit. Do you know what I mean? He's like gone through Project Tahiti over 100 times nearly. It's like 40 something.
You know who he reminds me of? Have you ever seen the show Archer?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of someone from there.
Who, Cyril?
No, just
no good. So do you think, like, so this is the thing, right? Is the first time I questioned how much of Donald needed to be saved, right, to fit into the android. And then, like, the question is, how much do they save? How much is truly Donald? You know? Because then, like, because then you're making a copy, right? And then, like, if you keep like making a photocopy of the same thing, then eventually, like, it fucks up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a true quality, you know? So
well, they've always got his memory on file, though, haven't they? So they've always got something to upload.
No, I know, but then he's made like changes. They've made changes to it. So how much of Donald is left?
Not a lot by now, surely.
So, like, did he fully have the autonomy to make that decision? Or was that like, I don't know. Do you think, like, say for example, like if you're copying something of a person, they could have done something. They always say, "Oh, it's like whatever happens is fully on you," but how can it be? Is my question. You know, fucking. This is a goddamn animated show that came from a comic. Like, this is how deep this shit gets. Like, this is fucking amazing. I love this show. And this is just like one character's arc, right? Because we got a whole thing that I want to discuss at the end. So then we see Mark get called into Principal Winslow's office. Dean Winslow, yeah, but he's principal now because he's in Dean Winslow now because it was principal, yeah. So yeah, so then he gets a genuine offer because principal Dean Winslow knows the whole situation with Mark, right? Somehow.
So what he said he knows about Mark's dad, does he know that he's invincible and his dad's Omni-Man, or does he?
He has to know, right? Like, that's the logical step.
Because as everyone knows who doesn't know about Omni-Man, they just thought Mark's dad just died.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that
That
is
might
that
okay.
what
That
he
might
meant?
be what he means. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I was taking it as that he knew about Omni-Man, right? I'm not gonna lie, I did like kind of forget that funeral bit, but I would also still say the first one, maybe, because like the offer felt genuine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like a sincere offer of, I don't think you want to be here, but I'm not going to take the opportunity away from you. Prove to me you want to be here, and you can stay. You know, that seemed really sincere. And I don't think that he would have got the same offer just because of a bereavement, because like bereavements happen all the goddamn time. You know, like they are tragic and horrendous, and no one wants them, but they're a constant part of life. And in a system that has like thousands of people, that's going to be something that's dealt with a lot. So, like when you get to like that level of administration, you've got to kind of relinquish some of the humanity because, like, you know, especially in a world with like kaiju and heroes and everything else, you got to think there's a lot more death than normal. Like, because they got normal death statistics and then they got supers on top of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know, so like what? Like they're just gonna have a whole third of everybody off constantly. Like they wouldn't have any school open. You know, if they treat everybody the same as Mark. So,
Yeah.
so that was me assuming that he knows about Omni-Man. So okay, so then Donald was going to get. I think Donald was going to get his memories erased. Is that how you were taking it? When he's like, "Do it." He's like, "Okay, I'll let the team know," and then he gets a call from Rick, which changes it, which changes the outcome. So, do you think that's what Donald was saying to do?
I don't know.
I will say that stuff with Donald was a big surprise because I thought when he first showed his robot parts that maybe he was just rebuilt as a robot after Omni-Man killed him.
Yeah, same.
But it turns out he was a robot for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that must like mess with him psychologically.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So do you think then that that's what he was saying at the end of the episode is to wipe his memories again? And then like him connecting with Rick on the rooftop changed his mind, do you think?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. So, if he's a robot, can he do robot things? Like, can he actually be an asset as a robot? Like how the robot on
Well, given how dispensable they were, I don't think so.
because what's the team's name? Was the robot on it?
What's
And
what?
Monster Girl and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are their names?
Different kind of robot. The Guardians of the Globe?
Guardians of the Globe. Yeah.
Yeah, different robot though, isn't it? You know? Like the Reanimen are stronger than Donald is. I imagine. Okay, so I think Donald personally was going to get his memory wiped again because of the trauma that he was already suffering upon finding out. And then talking to Rick and realizing he's not alone, and that they can lean on each other for support, that he changed his mind and he's gonna do that. And then we see Debbie gets a date offer, I think. That was what's happening. And then she's moving on with her life while having a thriving home life with her son and stepson, which is lovely to see and just shows the absolute metal on that woman, you know?
Yeah, she's amazing.
So fucking cool, man. Just wow, you know? That's a change I have. I do know that is in the comics that like I'm pretty sure in the comics she leant harder into the bottle and started being a bit rude to Mark. But they didn't do that, and I'm really, really grateful for it because I would have liked that.
See, changes work.
Yep. Debbie and Mark have a chat. Donald and Rick have a chat. Mark and Debbie's chat leads into what happens after their date, and Donald and Rick chat is about what was set up earlier, and that Donald is going to be there to support Rick after all the pain and suffering he went through. And then Mark and Amber have their date, and the date gets interrupted by Anissa. So I feel bad, right? But it's nice that before the relationship ended so badly, they had like a nice date, you know, and then it just unfortunately ended with some real horror, you know.
I will ask you guys though, would you guys rather have Mike and Amber figure things out, or would you guys rather have Mike and Adam Eve?
Definitely Mark and Eve.
See, I think that like Adam, Eve, and Mark, like that's always going to be the end game. But I think that there is still value to be had in the relationship with Amber and Mark. So I think that while they should have a relationship. But I fully understand everything that she said and how she feels, and that, you know, she's literally like a cardboard box that's sitting there, getting upset that her boyfriend's out saving the world and he's not there, and she hates that she feels that way. But she's human, so you know, it's just the way it is.
And the fact that she was put in danger this episode just sealed the deal for her. The fact that she was like, you know, her hand around my neck felt like steel.
Yeah, normally she can separate herself, but when she's in the mix, whole other set of cards.
Yeah.
So then Mark and Anissa have a fight after they protect the boat from the kaiju, which was funny. The kaiju looked kind of funny. It was. I gotta say, like, Mark really kind of messed it up a little bit, in my opinion, because that kaiju did some real damage before he finished. She finished it off, you know.
Joys of having a no kill policy, eh?
Yeah. Does that extend to kaiju? I don't know. And they fight, and then you see, like, this is I was saying to like Liam before. Like Anissa has to be old, like quite a bit older than Mark in Viltrum, like in years, because Viltrumites get stronger as they go, and like she's so much stronger than Mark already, even though she looks kind of young. Like there has to be some real years in that, because she is crazy more powerful, and it can't just be practice. You know what I mean? Their physiology has to play a part.
Well, Mark's not had his powers for long now, has he?
No. So that's another.
She's probably had her powers her whole life being full Viltrumite. So.
Yeah. Imagine dealing with that. Superpower baby. That'd be a pain in the ass. So then Mark goes to like really great lengths to show that he is not his father, right? To show Cecil, to show the world. Well, the world didn't even watch him, but he was showing the world, and he was showing himself that he is not his father, right?
Yeah.
And even if it meant faking it, he would not say the words, "I'll take over the planet," you know?
Yeah.
So that shows the real difference between our Marks and all of the other Marks that are out there. Well, most of them anyway. And then in the post-credit scene, Alan, the conversation that Immortal had about Alan is like, "Oh, I nearly cost us the fight because I didn't trust Invincible, and then I nearly started an interplanetary war with his one-eyed friend." Alan learns that he's much stronger than he used to be, and is excited to see the limits of his new power, but instead shows how cunning he is and how smart he is and how quickly he can think on his feet, and he gets kidnapped and arrested and taken on a Viltrumite ship in the hopes to find Omni-Man. And then
I don't think he's on there in the hopes to find Omni-Man.
no,
I think he's just got in. I think he's just gonna I think he's got in there just to try and get some info and that to see what he can take to Mark or whatever, and he's going to come across Omni-Man and then help him escape.
See, I think, because of how vicious the Viltrumites are, that they're not going to have a lot of prisoners. So I think that he knows that if he gets taken prisoner, Omni-Man will be there. Yeah. I think you can't imagine they got a lot of prisoners with how dangerous and destructive they are. They kill everybody. So there's not going to be a lot of people they take hostage.
That's true.
And how righteous they are, their judicial system is going to be rather fast. So any people they do take hostage, they won't be there for long.
They took him. She said she was going to take him to the scientist to dissect to see why he was so strong. So he's not even going to stand a trial or anything.
Yeah, good point. We'll have to see next week. And then we get Amber and Mark breaking up. And then while that's happening, Mark gets a call from Angstrom Levy, who is at Mark's house. And that's where we're going to get an explosive finale next week with the potential of that storyline closing. But the whole multiverse thing, that's not going to be able to go anywhere because
can you imagine if
there's so much to explore with that.
You imagine if they just done a baby Jack from Invincible kind of
Incredible. That's what I was thinking.
And he just fucked him up, but Mark didn't have to do anything there.
What? Yeah. Yeah, so basically, because of how lacking in multiversal story that it's been even since episode 5 and coming back, there's no way that they can just tie everything off and have the multiverse done by next episode. Absolutely no way. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That all we got were those teasers and shit before, no way. So in my head, it has to be that either Angstrom Levy keeps going or he dies, but there's a consequence that allows multiversal travel.
Yeah.
Something, because we have to stick with those people. Okay, so the really interesting thing that I wanted to talk to you that I find fascinating, which I think was tied a little bit to the conversation earlier with X-Men, is do you think Anissa is right?
Who?
The Viltrumite lady.
In what, with the way that you could save, they can save the planet and
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this to save the planet, they would need to kill humans, right?
No,
they said they have the technology to restore the resources and save the planet, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Omni-Man said he would have needed to kill humans to do it.
Only those that would resist, because human beings aren't a monolith. Not everybody's going to decide to agree. There's going to be people that have differing opinions and reactions. So the people that don't agree to the Viltrumite rule would be taken care of. That's what he's accounting for, because on every planet, there's not been a uniform of everybody just going, okay,
Well, I do think this is could be a big debate amongst fans, right? But as Mike said, it's important for humans to have the free will and make their own mistakes. So making everything perfect won't work.
Again, it's just a case of taking out the elites, isn't it? All the greedy ones that are stripping the planet for their own personal gain.
See, the question as well, like one of the questions that is a determining factor is how, like say for example, how oppressive the Viltrumite rule would be, right? So
Yeah.
like
yeah.
if they just leave the planet to its devices until something, which like until one of their laws get broken, or or they're just always around. Like how much like you said, free will and autonomy would people have in elections and government, and like, or would it just be a Viltrumite person in charge? Because there's another thing as well, which like I wanted to say, right? Because at what, like, is it more justifiable, right, to let a species that knows it's going extinct go extinct, right? Or if you have the power to stop it, do you stop it?
Yeah, but but they're not doing it to save the planet or whatever. They go across the galaxy conquering planets, and you know what I mean.
No, I hear that, but I
It's
take
not
that
like they're
aside.
there.
Take the
They're
Viltrumites
not
out of
there
it.
to actually save the planet. They're there
They're
to
kind of
scratch
like
their egos
saying
at the end of the day.
they're
That's
kind
fine.
of like saying from Dragon
I'm
Ball.
saying, like, if you take the skin of Invincible out of it, right? Like, say for example, we're just talking just normal now, right? Now, say for example, we are in the position of Viltrumite. Say for example, we're not like super powered, but we are great in technology, in advancements and stuff, and then we're going along on the planets and stuff, and then we see that a planet.
Are we offering our help, or are we taking over these planets?
Right, this is what I'm saying. Right, this is what I'm saying. Right, so we're going along and we see a planet, and in a planet we see is pushing themselves into an apocalypse, right? Of like just as an apocalypse. So that means shit's finishing, right, for them and the planet, right? Now, we have the means to stop that, right? Now, they say no, right? And they say no, we don't want it. We're apocalypsing, we're going out, right? Do we have a moral obligation to stop that?
No. If we've offered help and they say no as a planet, and it's all decided as one, then we don't. What we do is wait for their extinction and then rehabilitate the planet. Well, bring life back to it anyway.
What, populate it with your own?
No, don't even repopulate it. Just make it a habitable planet again. Give it back its resources and let it thrive in its own way.
It's kind of like the Thanos argument. If Thanos is really a good guy, he would just double the Earth's resources rather than eliminating half the population.
That wouldn't have worked though. But
how would that not
okay?
work?
But the thing is, though, is like you would stop a jumper, right? So what's the difference?
You'd end up getting sued.
Huh?
Not in this day and age, you'd end up getting sued.
Okay, but people stop jumpers, right? So what's the difference in it being a person versus a society?
What's a jumper?
A person that's on a high place that wants to get off of it.
Oh, you mean literally a jumper?
Yeah.
Okay. I assumed you meant like a sweatshirt or something.
I was going to say I prefer hoodies myself.
Yeah. People are really against hoodies and knitwear. Yeah. No, but it's in my head, it's the same sort of thing, but like on a grander scale, right? So, like say for example, persons in that position, you're taking the free will away from them, and you're forcing them to exist and get help, right? Now, it's just the same thing on a larger scale. Everybody might have agreed, but you would also pull the guy off of the ledge.
Would I do?
Fuck you know.
Robert, Is this whole discussion you teasing that you're actually a Viltrumite?
Sorry?
Are you actually a Viltrumite? Is that
No.
what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is, like, basically the violence that they like just put across everybody, like clouds their argument, right? But there is a genuine moral discussion to be had in whether they're right or not.
They weren't out conquering planets, yeah, because they're not there to rescue planets or save them from
No,
their
they're there to conquer, just like Saiyans in Dragon
out to
Ball.
conquering it. You know what I mean? It's stupid.
Yeah,
Like
again, I'm
Saiyans
saying
in-
again, right? They're
remember from
conquering and they're
Dragon
violent,
Ball.
right? Again, the Viltrumites, their violence clouds their issue, right? What I'm saying is the core crux of their argument, like as a morality experiment and like a discussion, like I find it fascinating. Of course, they're villains. Like they're out there just chopping people's heads off and shit for nothing. You know what I mean? They are bad guys. Yes. You know what I mean? 1,000,000%. I'm not sitting here saying I'm go Viltrumites, right? What I'm saying
I don't know.
is
I think
the
you
question that they have posed is fascinating. Because listen, like what's to say that A, that's not a situation we could be in, right? Given the vast state of the universe, or two, end up finding ourselves in, like on the other side of it. Like, say for example, humans as a species, like end up fully just doing Star Trek. You know what I mean? And then we're out there, and then there's a planet, there's apocalypse in. You know, are we just gonna roll the windows up? You know, or we're just gonna go over and offer help?
Here is an actual
They
question.
see me rolling.
And Invincible. So, do we think that Mike is going to stop the invasion before it happens, or do we think we're going to get like an arc where they actually take over Earth for a little bit? And, like, they have to, like, they take over Earth, and then they have to, Mike has to save it from that point.
I don't think that there would be a hero alive, right? Because basically, like, the whole point of the multiverse part is they showed you what happens when the Viltrumites arrive, you know?
Yes.
When Mark and Nolan welcome them in. And it forces all of the heroes underground, you know, fighting for their lives, at which point, like, they either get put into a coma or killed off, you know? So I don't think the world would look the same under Viltrumite rule and afterwards, and there wouldn't be a hero alive that we would recognize, and it would be a whole new set of people you'd have to like get the audience to love, you know? So I don't think so. I think they're gonna have to stop it, like at the borders, you know. What do you think, Liam?
I kind of zoned out for a second there.
He's asking, do you think the Viltrumites will rule Earth for a little bit, or it'll be a battle that's won instantly?
I don't know. It's gonna. Apart from Alan and Omni-Man, who we've already seen, he had his back broken already. You know, maybe Mark. Who else is there on Earth that's going to protect him? Got to be some sort of Viltrumite rule, surely.
But then who's going to be alive after the battle? Because there's not going to be, like...
It depends.
The Guardians of the Globe.
You know, if they tie in the whole multiversal travel side of it, and they bring a load of good marks along, or whatever, then there's a, you know...
But the good marks, the bad marks fully outweigh the good marks. And at the moment, a bad guy is the only person that has control of multiversal travel.
At the moment. About to lose that in the first quarter of this next episode.
Well, it's a biological power. It's not something Mark's going to be able to take off of him.
Maybe not.
No.
Wouldn't it be funny if his little brother does? And that's his powers.
Maybe.
I still think it's weird that Nolan mated with her.
Yeah, I don't get into that. That's crazy. So, yeah, suffice to say, the Guardians of the Globes are the front line of defense when it comes to all sorts of planetary threats, right?
Oh, God.
So, there's not going to be any one of them left standing if the Ultramites take over.
I've seen a spoiler from one of the comics as well.
Okay, I don't want to know.
Yeah. Absolutely fucking amazing, but devastating at the same time.
I'll wait. Cool. I'll wait. You keep that one locked up.
I will do.
So, is there anything else from the episode that happened this week, or anything from the finale that we're hoping or expecting before we wrap up?
I do wonder if Omni-Man will appear in the finale, or if he's not going to be in it till next season.
I don't reckon the Ultramites are going to turn up until next season, but I reckon Alan and Omni-Man are going to escape the ship and get to Earth before then.
Okay. So you think so that's okay, so basically we got an hour next week, right? 50 minutes, right? So who do you think is getting screen time next week? Alan and Omni-Man?
Oh, that actually does remind me. So do we think, let's say the Viltrumites do invade Earth, but they threaten the lives of Mark. Do we think that Omni-Man would fight on the side of Earth just to protect Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's already like Omni-Man has shown that he
Cares.
he isn't as he was, right? Like his time with the Thraxans has shown him like what his time with the humans should have. Do you know what I mean? Like just on a really quicker scale. So yeah,
probably,
like
because he's seen it on a quicker scale. We've probably seen how much more fragile life actually is.
Yeah. So absolutely, I definitely think he will defend Earth. If nothing else, just to fight against the Viltrumites and give everybody
A helping, a fighting chance.
Yeah. So the other thing as well, right, is when did Nolan write these books, right?
Yeah.
Because he must have been feeling this way for a while, right? And if he was the one on those journeys, then maybe he hasn't always been as Viltrumite as everybody's led to believe.
Mm-mm.
Because like he sat there on journeys, finding things and experiencing things that could like kill the Viltrumites, you know? And then instead of saying, hey, Viltrumites, come and deal with this, kept them in the shadows or kept them away and then wrote books about their locations and stuff and shit like that, you know? So,
and are we going to see any of these weapons at all?
Absolutely. I think that's what season 3 for Alan is going to be.
Mm-mm. Can you imagine if he's got hold of the, like, he manages to control the multiversal guy, or manages to get hold of that technology or whatever, and he's just travels to all of these planets and shit and just grabs all of this shit. Like, those creatures with their high gravity, you know, you can imagine a load of them on Earth.
Yeah, because there does need to be a way for everybody to travel faster, because at the moment it's just people flying through space. That's not really like fast
Apart
enough.
from Cecil. 9 times out of 10 you think it's a hologram, and then obviously it's not, because he starts touching shit and doing stuff. It's like, what?
Yeah. I honestly, most of the time I just expect it to be him anyway. Until it's proven not to be. I'm like, oh, it's actually not this time, you know. Because like that teleporting thing he's got, that's awesome. That's real cool.
So I mean, if he's got it, why isn't anyone else?
Don't know. But yeah, that's me for everything I wanted to discuss this week. There's not like super loads of news, just like stuff for people trying to be trolls and things like that. Really, nothing exciting. Flash Week, have you got any news?
I do not.
So apparently the Godzilla versus Kong is really, really good.
I never was a fan of any of those movies, I'm going to be honest.
So I had no interest in the franchise, but then I watched it for Darren's podcast, and then absolutely loved it. And I'm fully invested now, and I can't wait to see the new stuff. So yeah, thank you, Liam. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'm feeling a bit better for next week, and we'll be a little bit more energetic for everybody.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
I do have a fun fact with Flash Freak.
Okay.
Did you know that your pupils are the last part of your body to stop working when you die?
Nice.
They dilate.
Would you been around Free Dub's house?
Do you
all,
not
of those,
get it?
all of those bodies everywhere.
Dilate is what happens to your eyes when they like.
Yeah, no, we got the joke.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you didn't get it.
It's just a bit morbid, that's all.
That was funny as hell. But you fucking dick.
Also, more of a superhero themed one. I don't understand why Marvel doesn't use the Hulk to advertise more, because he's basically one big banner.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.
I'll be here all week. Thank you.